Welcome to the Daily Beast podcast. I'm Joanna Coles. I'm wearing colour. So is Sam B. I'm the Chief Content Officer of the Daily Beast. Sam, who are you?
I'm Samantha B. As you said, I'm the Chief Content Officer of False Eyelashes. Look at them. Oh, look at both of us.
False eyelashes,
We're going
the
to
best.
flutter our way right out of this studio when everything's done.
We're going to fly. Can you tell everybody why you have false eyelashes on?
I was on the CBS morning show this morning with Gayle King and company. It was very good. I was promoting my my menopause show on Audible, and I hope everybody listens.
I was wondering if everybody that went up in the Blue Origin space rocket was menopausal.
Oh, I would imagine so. Everybody's in some phase or another of perimenopause.
Menopause, post-menopause.
Oh, for sure. Come on. So tell me about your lashes. Why do you have your
My lashes.
on?
So here's
Okay.
what's embarrassing.
Yes.
Your lashes are fresh from this morning.
They are fresh.
Mine are still clinging on. This is embarrassing.
Yes.
From Sunday.
Stop it
From
right
Sunday.
now.
Yeah.
I don't think that's good for your eyeballs.
No, of course it's not good for you,
No.
but they look so much better because I can't stick them on myself. And I was on CNN Sunday morning after the White House Correspondents.
That's right. We have so much to discuss.
So much to discuss.
I understand that you, and this is sad because you did get a diagnosis of a medical condition, right?
I did, and I wasn't going to talk about it, but as you've raised it.
I mean, I think it's time to.
Well, and the diagnosis came from an unusual source.
It did.
It came from the White House spokesperson, who is a man called, I think he's a former wrestling executive.
Great.
Called Stephen Chung.
Yes, not a medical doctor per se.
Not a medical doctor.
Lots of opinions.
Yeah, and he said that I was suffering from, well, first he said I was a little shit, but then he said I was suffering from Trump derangement syndrome, which is TDS, which actually I think you have too.
I definitely have that syndrome as well. He did say that you're a piece of shit. Let's be accurate.
Because he called Michael Wolff a lying sack of shit.
But you're just a piece of
just
shit.
a piece of shit.
Not a whole sack.
I'm not a whole sack, though I will say that I wonder if I qualify then in some way for donating to FMT, which is fecal matter transfer, which I heard about this week as an amazing new technology for health issues.
Make your life matter. You know what I mean? Make your life about
matter.
something.
Yeah.
You also have a pea-sized brain.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas Michael Wolff has a peanut-sized brain, and I want to recommend as my medical diagnosis for Stephen Chung that he buy a thesaurus and get a little more creative.
Yeah, he's very limited in his number of insults. Stephen, we think you can do better. Come on, ramp it up.
Yes, you're you're a professional communicator. Let's have.
Is he now?
Fine. He can at least do a synonym search online.
Anyway, moving swiftly on.
Yes. What are we talking about today?
I mean, I wish we both managed to attend the Pope's funeral because I think it would have been fun.
Imagine choosing an outfit for the Pope's funeral. You want to get the color right, which our president did not do. He loves to stand out.
Well, and the last time he met the Pope, as we pointed out in the Daily Beast, he was actually wearing a black suit. So I don't know why he needed to wear blue, except he wanted all eyes on him.
He's just the person who shows up at the wedding in a parallel bridal gown. He's just the person who's like, it just happens to be a white dress. Whatever. I wore it to my own wedding. It's not technically. I've reworked it. I raised the hem.
So good. I'm disappointed we missed it because I would like to have worn a veil. I've never actually worn a veil, and I feel like it would be a little black frilly one with some movement.
I would picture you in a fascinator. When I dream about you at
Fascinator I've
night, which I
worn.
often do.
Please do.
I
Please
see
dream
You're
about me.
always in a fascinator.
I do have a black leather fascinator, actually, which I got for Buckingham Palace.
That is the most fascinating fascinator.
Yeah, it was a little S&M-y.
A little S&M.
Yeah, it's black leather and it's cut out. It's laser cut black leather and it sort of rises up. It's pretty cool, actually, but it's not a veil.
Like just a little dollop of fudge frosting.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Indeedy. Okay, what else? We have so much to talk about because every week we focus on the people and the stories that we're obsessed with at the Daily Beast. What else?
What's the condition of the country? We're recording this on the 100-day mark.
Yeah, 100-day mark.
Seems great. The GDP is shrinking.
Can you please explain to us what is going on in Canada?
Well, we just had our big federal election in Canada, and Mark Carney, who was the leader of the fresh leader of the Liberal Party, won the election. I think it was a real moment. Canadians really galvanized against kind of a mysterious conservative guy who everybody found him to be. He was quite in the Trump mode, and there was a resounding renaissance for the Liberal Party, who was really expected to lose under Justin Trudeau. And they have resoundingly rejected any idea of Trumpism, chaos, the unknown, because they're just building a firewall around the country, and it's actually pretty great to see. And I think that that's going to happen in a lot of places.
Well, and Mark Carney's also got the advantage of being financially literate, right? Because he was governor of the Bank of England.
Yes.
So that's helpful, given that Canada, tariffs, all that stuff, you need someone who understands what's going on.
Going into these extremely choppy economic waters, Canada just chose a leader who they felt could kind of protect them and could understand those systems.
So do you think Justin Trudeau is lying there in bed in the mornings just thinking, why didn't I stay on? Why did I?
No, I think he is so, well, I don't know him at all, but I can only imagine that he's like, you know what? I am actually not up for 4 more years of Donald Trump, so this feels great. I bet you he's getting a massage. I bet you he's just getting lubed up and worked on. Fantastic.
Maybe he will follow in Bill Belichick's footsteps and get a new muse, because obviously famously got divorced in office.
My goodness.
I'm very excited by their relationship. I loved the interview they did with CBS and Tony DeCopel, where she was basically apparently directing the interview from behind the scenes.
Yes, she was.
Bill looked like he had Stockholm syndrome.
I think Bill is doing okay. I think he's kind of winning in this transaction.
Do you
somewhat.
though?
Who's winning? What? Oh, God, she's his idea mill.
Oh, that's right.
Inspired by her. Their love is so true. It just leaps off the screen and the pages. Oh, God, I wish them well. I truly just
the photo that just freaked me out was she was standing behind him in a beautifully low-cut bikini top, which I felt was highly appropriate. Yeah. And he is sitting there almost in a wrap position with his rings on every finger, his Super Bowl rings, and it just looks surreal. It looks like a parody of an Adam Sandler movie.
Can I be honest with you? Every photograph of them freaks me out. Every single one. Not the least of which are those photos on the beach where he's
holding
laying in the
her
sand
up,
like an insect with its legs up in the air, and she's. Oh, God, how many times have my husband and I tried to recreate that exact moment in our Upper West Side apartment?
Good for you. And they have a 50-year age difference, which I was thinking, well, if I had a 50-year age difference, that would mean I'd be dating a 13-year-old, which is too young. It's too young. 40 would bring me to 23,
you know what?
Still too young.
I'm 55. I think I would do very well with a man 105 years of age. I feel like that's a different type of love match.
Yeah. But it's obviously a true love match. As you say, we should be happy for both of them. Always happy for people in love.
Joanna.
I love love. All right, tell me about your college tour.
I'm taking my son's a junior in high school. We've been doing college tours all around. I've been touring my one-woman show. I'm traveling all over the place. It's just pure chaos. I'm going to keep these eyelashes on for the next month.
Honestly, you should. You should.
I need them.
And by the end of it, your eyes will be gummed closed.
Gummed closed. When I take them off, I'll peel off my eyelids with them.
I know, but it looks good. It looks good. All right.
Okay.
We are now going to talk to our beast of the week. She's a journalist and a White House correspondent, April Ryan. And in the download, we're going to talk to billionaire businessman and candidate for California governor, known as the crazily, Donald Trump of the Democrats, the mysterious, very mysterious, Stephen Cloobeck. He actually announced he was running in November. I didn't know anything about it until very, very recently, but I'm looking forward to talking to him.
Yeah, I've had a lot of fun Googling him.
Yeah.
Lots of stuff comes up.
Lots of stuff comes up, and apparently he's happy to talk about all of it.
Well, that's great. You know what? I'll run for California governor.
Honestly, everybody's running for governor
Everybody's
just to
running.
improve their Google ratings, I think.
Will you sing in my band the song about me? Because he has his own song.
I will definitely sing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll totally sing for you.
Oh my God, how cute.
God, yeah. I'll be your backing singer. I'll be your Pips. You're Gladys Knight. I'll be your Pips. I wonder if we could bring in Adam Levine.
I don't think
I'm going through a Maroon 5 phase, which is really worrying. I'm so beyond. I don't understand what's happened. It's wormed its way into my brain and I can't get it out.
I'm going to get that brain worm out.
Yeah.
We did it for RFK Jr. and we'll do it for you.
Okay, thank you. Welcome back. We're joined now by the longest-serving African-American White House correspondent and our beast of the week, April Ryan. April, you looked incredible at the weekend at the White House Correspondents' dinner. Yeah, you had a green dress with these incredible feathers. Mm-hmm. You two could have flown away, like me and Sam in our eyelashes.
With our false eyelashes.
For those who weren't at the dinner, Sam wasn't there. Tell us what it was like.
It was the oddest thing I've ever been to. Mind you, I've been to about 28 of them now. 28 years, 28 White House Correspondents Association dinners. We had no president. The president is typically the guest of honor. He does not put it on. He is the guest of honor typically. And what happens is that we roast him and he roasts us back. And now, I don't know if this is going to set a precedent or not. But what's happening is, I'm sorry, my husband just keeps calling me. He knows I'm on with you guys.
Well, that's nice. It's better that he's calling you than not calling you.
It shows that he loves me, I guess. But no, It was the weirdest thing because we didn't have the president. He wasn't roasted. He didn't roast us back, and we didn't have entertainment. And you all know why we didn't have entertainment, because Amber Ruffin, the comedian that was set to roast the president and roast us and talk about whatever she wanted to talk about, was fired, essentially, because of what she said on the Daily Beast. So it was weird, but I did enjoy what Eugene Daniels, the president of the association, had to say. This is a very tense moment for the press. The president is encroaching upon our territory. We're losing ground. And once you lose ground, you never get it back. And Eugene spoke of the moment about the free press. He spoke of the moment about what this means for the American public. See, people think it's just a fight between us and the press. It's not that. It's a fight about information that goes to the American public. I mean, look at what's happening now. If the president, gets his way, we won't be around. This is a real moment. And if the press weren't there to ask questions and get answers or dig, the American public would be sitting here scratching their head, what's going on?
So we're 100 days in. We're all unpacking the first 100 days of this administration, and it is has been obviously an astonishing experience. I mean, I know it's too soon to talk about when it will be over, but how are we actually going to put the horses back in the barn? Do you have any sense of that? I mean, you're a veteran of the White House press room.
How are we going to get the horse back in the barn? Well, let's say this. Let's say the barn has burned down and there's no barn to go back to.
Yes.
Let's try that. The first 100 days have been like drinking out of a fire hose. It's impossible.
Right.
And they say flood the zone. It's called, I'm going to be honest with you, it's over the top. It's too much. One story overtop the other. The president just says whatever he wants. He and Elon Musk were friends. Now they're not. The list goes on. Now let's talk about the American people. We've had measles.
April, before we do, can I just ask you one thing? Is the White House Press Association still useful? The Axios reporter Alex Thompson accepted an award and berated the association for missing the Biden health story.
And the camera went right to me while I was drinking. I said, oh, Lord.
I don't think he was targeting you specifically, but he was pretty aggressive about saying that the association, the reporters essentially missed the story or deliberately, knowingly covered it up. And Carolyn Levitt obviously just comes out and says whatever she feels like saying. This week we saw Amazon potentially labeling tariff costs on customers' bills. She came out and said it was a political and hostile act. So she says what she likes. So what is the point? I understand the American people need an account of what's going on, but the AP's no longer in the room. So what is the point of the White House correspondents at this point?
AP is in the room. However, they're not being called on. AP is going through exhaustive attempts. When the president flies, they're not allowed to fly on Air Force One or the press charter, so they go their own way. They find a way to get there. And, reporters are banding together to help them get information, to put out the pool reports so that we all can get the information. I want to say, yes, we are still useful. But in reality, they're taking it over. They're creating who they want to come into the Oval Office to address the president. Caitlin Collins from CNN, it took her It took her a long time. She was the only reporter in there with the El Salvadorian president who asked the question for really the raison d'etre of the meeting. We are still viable. We are very viable. However, we have to be creative in our being viable, and we have to continue. We have to go back to the basics. Basics like 101. I'm not into chastising other journalists, but we have to go back to the basics and not be friends of the president, not be embedded with the president, and ask the questions. We are the fourth estate, Joanna. We are the fourth estate. The next line of questioning when all else fails, when the judiciary fails, when the legislative branch fails, and when the White House fails. All three branches are now in the realm of the conservative movement or MAGA, whatever you want to call it. But you have us still asking the questions. And now Caitlin Collins and others and I are still in that room. However, Caroline Levitt chooses to call those who are very sympathetic and love the president of the United States instead of seeing him for who he is and asking pointed questions.
I mean, the WHCA they didn't even source a correct photo of you. Like, do you feel like, are they really meeting this moment?
That was a bad
That is very basic.
You were sort of honored for being the longest serving African-American correspondent in the White House press room.
Of the White House.
And then they flashed up in the history of the White House, and then they flashed up a picture of
my
Yamiche.
dear friend Yamiche. We don't look alike. And I love that story you did. People were like, oh my God, they put April and Yamiche together like that. That's my girl though. And I called her. She said, hey, April. I said, no. I'm Yamiche. You're April. And we laughed. We got a laugh out of it. But it was embarrassing for her. You could see her squirming. And I'm like, at first I was sitting there because I was like, okay, I didn't even know. I was out of it kind of sort of. I didn't even know it was happening. When I heard my name, I said, wait a minute. I said, that's not me. That's Yamiche. And then so my husband's like, this is her. Come over here, Karen. I'm like, oh God. And I mean, it was awful. We have gone beyond that kind of time when Black people all look the same. I'm like, this is crazy.
Well, let's say I could wave my magic wand and put you in charge of the White House Correspondents Association. How would you take things back to basics? Like, how would you run things? How would you right the ship? I do feel like this big cruise ship is in a bit of chaos. I mean, the situation with Amber, it was very bad. I think it was disgraceful.
It's been a bad week for Black women with the White House correspondents. Amber's, what if he got it wrong? What if they fired the wrong person?
Well,
they stuck her for someone else.
You never censor someone's craft and their art. You never do that.
No.
And I'm like, what? So,
no.
I had been on the board of the White House Correspondents Association. I was on for 3 years when Barack Obama was president. And I was there when we hit the 100th anniversary. And I chose not to stay. I chose not to go for re-election because I felt like I was a help. And when I say that, I felt like It's a lot of grudge work. I was in charge of the refrigerator in the kitchen that kept breaking, and we had to bring the people in when the president was gone, and it was such an arduous task. I mean, people would complain about the toilets are not working, or there's no toilet paper in there, or the relationship with the press and the president. You ran the gambit. But after a while I said, this is not, and do my job, I said, this is not for me. But if I were president, this would not be a time when I'm trying to curry favor. I would not demand a meeting with Caroline Leavitt. She's not the power. The power is the president of the United States. I would impress upon him what's going on and how it does not bode well for him to have people in there who are avid supporters and fanning out, fangirl or fanboying out.
Right.
Two of the examples in the same day, going back to that Volodymyr Zelensky meeting, Marjorie Taylor Greene's boyfriend chastised Volodymyr Zelensky, why aren't you wearing a suit? But here comes Elon Musk with a baseball cap and an overcoat and a t-shirt. And his kid in there telling the president to shut up. But the protocol for the Oval Office is that jacket and a tie and a collared shirt. But they didn't ask that. And then also that same day when Volodymyr Zelensky was in the Oval Office, when the president literally ran him out, you had a Russian TV journalist in there, and they don't know how they got in there. For real? This is the most powerful office in the land, Secret Service everywhere, and you don't know how. I don't know.
How does it affect the morale in the room when someone from the Daily Wire can put their hand up and be like, just why are you all doing such an awesome job?
The morale is horrible because I'm going to tell you, I'm going to give you a little insight, and I know they're going to get mad, but when the front row, the illustrious front row, does not get called on, and it's like Fox and maybe a ABC, and that's it on the front row, they all go outside and gather and talk to each other. They don't like it.
Right.
And it is horrible. It is a horrible moment because he's not doing well. His numbers are underwater. Like that Black man who ran for mayor in New York City, he said the rent is too damn high. Well, the price of everything is too damn high. We're losing money in the stock market. Everything's fluctuating. You got people being laid off, truckers, UPS. We're scared about our food. I mean, this president is not doing well. And for you to come with the narrative that, oh, you're just doing so well, he's not. And I understand that, they're reaching out to other people in the Republican Party to try to help them come back and fix some of the mistakes that they made. So this is a moment where you can't get needed items from around the world. That's a problem. And that shows a failure when people can't go about their daily lives.
You're going back in there this afternoon, I believe. So good luck. Sam, if you had a question for the White House briefing, what would it be?
Oh my God! Don't put me on the spot. Can you all go away? Can you stop? Get out of our eyeballs. Please just govern us. Have you ever thought about just governing? And my second question would be, why are you so awesome?
I really want to know if he's on Ozempic, though, because we definitely spot it. I think he's been losing weight. And I know we have a call in. April, you see him. Do you think he's lost weight?
Can I tell you something? I don't know if he's lost weight or maybe he's using a Spanx.
You know what? He's doing a triple Spanx.
A man Spanx.
A manx. I think they're called manx.
Yeah, but you triple them up. He's
got triple manx.
Triple
I
manx.
don't know. That's painful.
Oh, yeah. No,
They're very
terrible.
cheap on Shine, though.
Yeah.
They're very cheap on
It's not
Shine. Get them
comfortable.
before the tariffs hit. April Ryan, congratulations on your extraordinary career, long-serving White House correspondent. Thank you for joining us, and I hope you'll come back and join us again.
I'll join you anytime you ask. Thank you, guys.
What a pleasure. Thank you so much.
We're back, and we're joined by businessman, philanthropist, and candidate for governor of California, Stephen Cloobeck. Stephen is also the author of the forthcoming book, Facing Hard Truths, How Americans Can Get Real, Pull Together, and Turn Our Country Round. And hopefully he can tell us the secret of how to do that right now.
Yes.
Because we need it.
We do.
Stephen, welcome.
Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thank you. I'm grateful. Thank you for having me.
I'm going to just dive in there because you are known to some as the Donald Trump of the Democrats. What does that mean? And how does that sit with you?
Well,
Do you wear that Proudly. What does that mean?
I know him. We
do.
played in the sandbox of business together. We're both from the hospitality business. We both did reality
Right.
TV,
Yes.
Undercover Boss and The Apprentice, and they're very similar actually. They have bravado, and we interact with our team, but they both end up in tears. Both shows end up in tears, except in Undercover Boss, they're happy tears. And his show, you're fired. We create value. He's a wrecking ball. He destroys value.
Tell us about your decision-making process, because your life is very good. You're a very wealthy person. You have every opportunity at your fingertips. Why on God's green earth would you say yes to and throw your hat in the ring?
It's interesting. Look, I interviewed every candidate as a donor. And I'm like, this is the best we got? You're kidding me, right? So I started to do my due diligence, my homework on the great state of California, the country of California. I grew up here, and I'm like, what happened to this beautiful place that gave me all these aspirational goals? I mean, I grew up in the San Fernando Valley, modest means, but got a great education. I dreamed of living over the hill. I lived in the San Fernando Valley and dreamed of living in Beverly Hills. And after I sold my company, Hilton owns it today. I'm very proud of that. I wanted to live my dream, and I came back to a state that's just a failed social experiment. And so I did get involved, and I did my homework, and I found out there's solutions.
The Democrats have had control of California, all aspects of California, for some time now. What can you bring to it that the current team haven't? What has Governor Newsom done wrong? And then let's talk about Kamala, because obviously she's the biggest candidate in the race, assuming she's going to run.
Well, when I speak, I'm a Californian, and I bring business leadership to the table, and the others have not signed the front of a check. They don't know what it's like to think of unintended consequences. They don't understand that everyone in California is a customer, and they should receive equal or greater value. Look, there's no red carpet with me, no hair gel, no word salad. We are in this predicament of this failed social experiment because the leaders have brought us here. Why would we continue to elect those that have brought us here? We're going to have to find new to actually solve the problems. And I come to the table with solutions, proven solutions. We
are having a current lived experience of being governed in some ways, or having our daily lives affected by the actions of billionaires getting involved in politics. You're very far removed from experiencing an affordability crisis. Can you just sort of enumerate the ways in which you would comfort someone who was looking, who was undecided?
Well, I don't want you to comfort anybody. I'm just going to hop in over Sam here. Sure. But I do want your solutions for what you would do.
Well, thank you. Those are good questions. Look, when I was a young boy, I was a busboy, waiter, dishwasher, 8, 9, 10 years old. I'm built to serve. I come from the service business. I roll up my sleeves. I don't believe in red carpets. I'd rather create
But what does
leaders.
That mean? I get all that, but you're talking in political cliches now. What are the actual steps you would take to alleviate homelessness in the big democratic cities? What would you actually do?
Well, let's talk about California's not open for business. It's not workable, livable, and affordable. I fix the most broken of companies, 10 to be exact. And nobody said they could be fixed. We've got great exports of our state. People have forgotten about our great exports. Agriculture, tourism and travel, entertainment, innovation, manufacturing, education, and we can grow our GDP from this and have performance and results at the government level. The California Department of Performance and Results, also known as CPR, which the state needs.
So why don't we take the biggest industry of that, which is obviously Hollywood and the extraordinary export, both culturally and financially. Would you bring Hollywood back to Hollywood? I mean, right now, and I've certainly gone through this, people make shows elsewhere.
That's my line. You stole my line. I'll bring Hollywood back to Hollywood. So when you look at Hollywood, let's just look at the landscape, the due diligence of this landscape. We lost Hollywood. 40% of the sound stages are empty. The CapEx is already here. There's no CapEx required. It's an export. So let's do the comparative analysis to the incentives that are given in other places. Around the world, let's pick Georgia, which is spoken about a lot. Georgia,
Atlanta. Yeah.
Georgia as in the state, not the country.
Yep.
$563 billion GDP, $1.3 billion in incentives given. If you do a comparative analysis to California, with our $4.1 trillion GDP, we could give incentives up to $9 billion with no asterisks and keep it simple. Because right now, it's complicated with regulation. You can't do documentaries. You can't do unscripted. And this all trickles down to those working in the industry, electricians, grips, producers, actors. They want to stay home. They want to be home. They're missing their families. We need to take back Hollywood, bring back Hollywood to Hollywood and own it. We need to be on the offense. And the leadership that we've had in the past, Joanna, they've been on defense. I believe in offense, not defense.
I mean, speaking of Hollywood, like your own personal life is kind of the stuff of, it is the stuff of Vanity Fair profiles. Do you think that people will accept you as a real candidate for the governorship, given all that is known about your personal life? You live very boldly.
Yeah, sure, because everything about me is known. I don't get extorted, and you won't get extorted on my watch. I fight, and I'll fight for California. I mean, those articles, by the way, you're not going to believe it, but I actually had them written. They weren't written about me. I actually did it. You speak with Bill Cohen. You may know him. He's became a friend. I got tagged.
Right.
I own it.
So how do we know? So you're talking about a relationship you had with a young woman who was an OnlyFans star. You gave her a lot of gifts, and then it turned out she'd been shooting porno movies in your fabulous homes. It ended in a very ugly way, as far as I can see, and it showed a lapse of judgment. If I'm a voter in California, why would I assume?
I don't, Joanna, I don't know if it's a lapse of judgment or being naive to the dating scene. I mean, I didn't know what Discord, Reddit was to do my due diligence. I could have found out that wasn't even her real name. Her name was something else, and now she's changed her name a third time.
Well, it ended in a very ugly legal battle, right?
Well, actually, it ended in an apology letter, which I'm happy to read to you. It ended in all of the gifts being returned.
Well, that's good, because you spent a lot of money.
And me not paying one penny to anybody and fighting the fight, because I fight the fight, I don't get extorted. Nobody should on my watch.
All right, so what did you learn from that experience?
What I learned is there's a lot of grifters and cons out there.
I guess speaking of grifters, you have, what are your interactions with Donald Trump like? I mean, we have a situation now, like, how are you going to go head to head with someone who you've interacted with in the past who wants to attach strings to something as seemingly as non-political as like LA wildfire assistance?
That's a very good question, because I watched that horrifying U-shaped table rip down, tear down of Mayor Bass and Congressman Sherman. And if I was there at that table, I would have said, Mr. President, we know each other. I know you say that everyone go back to their home tonight, tomorrow, but you know that's not true. Because guess what? FEMA's got to come in and certify that every asset is safe. And you know what? That's on you. So when you get that done, Mr. President, come back to us and let us know when it's done. And then the folks can either choose the Army Corps of Engineers to clean up their site for free, or it's going to cost $200,000 approximately to do it on their own, and that's on them. But when you get it done together with us, work together, because California is a bully pulpit. Okay, you need us as much as we need you, and let's respect each other. And that's how I would handle it. And I've had many interactions with him in the past, and we have respect for one another, but frankly, I'm not intimidated.
You are golf buddies with Barack Obama, by way of example. Does he have any impulse to come out of hiding and tell us what to do? We're all pretty lost.
What? I don't know
No,
that
I'm
he
sure.
wants to. I was talking to James Carville this morning. James this morning. We're fans of one another. And, look, we should have had a contested convention if my dear adopted father was alive. Harry would have really made that happen. And I think from what I hear, Barack wanted that to happen too. There's not enough voice in the heart center of our party today.
So Kamala Harris is supposed to be certainly mulling over a run for governor. And obviously she has a much higher profile than you do. How would you take her on? What are her weaknesses for governor?
Good question. The last time I spoke to her was May 28th, 2019. She called me and asked me whether or not I would assist her in a run for office. She misjudged that day because it was the 1-year anniversary of my father's death, my dearest friend, Sheldon. And it wasn't a very good mood. And I basically told her she wasn't ready for prime time. She hung up on me. That was the last time I talked to her. When you blow through $1.3 billion in 90 days, people don't forget they blew through, not understanding tabletop issues, economy and immigration, 2 very important issues. They were just tone deaf. I mean, I met with Waltz, and the guy didn't even understand balance sheet and income statement. Nice guy. But we can't apologize for success in our party. I'm a lifelong Democrat. I'm proud to be a Democrat. Bill Clinton taught me a lot of great things, and Harry Reid did also. I mean, Democrats can govern. Bill Clinton balanced a budget. He also efficiently created what was called reinventing government. Al Gore facilitated 400,000 jobs being stripped from our federal government. So Democrats can lead and govern. We just need to find our heart center again. We need some balance. We need some bravado.
Have you spent much time with Daniel Lurie, the new mayor of San Francisco? Because he seems to be re-exciting the city. Certainly the city seems cleaner. It seems that the business community have got more involved because they feel he understands them.
I was in San Francisco. I have not. I look forward to meeting him, and I know we're trying to schedule it. I was in San Francisco last week, Oakland and Palo Alto. And the city is much cleaner. It's got a great vibe. It's got some swag coming back to it. And it's palpable. It is palpable. So, let's not poo-poo business leadership. Just because I've done well doesn't mean that I don't have compassion and warmth for people, because I'm in the people business. I roll up my sleeves. No red carpet for me. I'm here to serve.
I don't think we were poo-pooing business leadership. I think business leadership is essential, especially in big cities and running states. Things are complicated and you need people who can get things done and who are used to being held accountable, which frequently politicians aren't. Well, now where am I going with this, Sam? Please help me out here. I'm just sort of defending, because I'm a big believer in getting business involved in politics.
100%. But I think that, there is a class of people who are like kind of political dilettantes, like newcomers who have an understanding of business, but don't have an understanding necessarily of governance, which is different, which is actually of public service. Like that's actually kind of rare in the business world. So I do think that there's a suspicion. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's natural.
Call me a unicorn, because I've legislated and worked with Department of Homeland Security, Customs and Borders, Senate, House, Treasury, Commerce, Interior, and State Department, changing visa policy in China and Brazil. Do you have a global entry card?
Yes, happily.
I was involved in that.
Well,
I got
good
our
job. Thank
officers
you.
to sit down with me and be polite when people entered the United States. And I said, we're going to spend close to $300 million marketing the United States after the lost decade of travel. Can the officers smile and say, welcome to the United States, please? And when they leave, did you have a good time? Please come back soon. Disneyland-esque. And we did it. So solutions are possible. I bring uniqueness to the table.
And you have a song. You already have a song.
Old school theme song. Jeff
Seriously.
Ross. Jeff Ross. I think you know Jeff.
Stephen Cloobeck, take our hand, lead march to the promised land. California, California, get a clue. Stephen Cloobeck is the guy for you.
Yes.
He wrote the song.
Oh
I modified
my
it, but he wrote it and gave it to me
God.
as a gift over the holidays.
It's very good. It's very good. You know what? I clicked on it and I was like, this is not gonna be good. And that actually was pretty good.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
I just signed a deal with iHeartRadio to launch my podcast called Hard Truths with Stephen J. Cloobeck. And our guest list is filling up quick. We're starting at the beginning of May. The book launches in June, which is done by Disrupted Books, West Wing Writers. Very proud of this book. Clinton read it, loved it. Cory Booker, a dear friend of mine, my little shadow, my little brother. He and I are fighters in arms. I have a lot of dear friends. Zac Efron is my adopted son.
A lot of adoptions going on here.
Well, this was great. I want to thank you so much for talking to us today. Do we? Joanna has one.
I think I want to take you up on your offer of reading the apology letter you got back from your treacherous girlfriend.
I honestly thought that you were going to say, I would like to be adopted by you.
Well, I would love
That's
to
what
be
I thought the
adopted by you.
question was.
I'm enthusiastic, but you offered to read us the apology letter, so I'm going to take you up on the offer.
Well, I'm going to have to grab my glasses.
And then I'll take you up on the adoption. Because if there's an offer on the table, I'm perfectly,
It says, Dear Stephen, I'm so sorry for the emotional pain I caused you. I'm sorry for hurting your heart. I am sorry I disappointed you and could not live up to who you thought I could be. Thank you for pushing me to be a better me. Thanks to you, I have learned that material things do not bring happiness. I hope you find better than me, and I hope for your happiness in the future. Large XOXO, Stephanie.
Wow, well, that's an apology letter. Thank you for doing that.
No, it's my pleasure. I'm as transparent come. Frank Luntz told me I'm too candid.
Well, I think it's very appealing in a world where everything is happening on X now. So, okay, final question then. How do you combat something like X? Because when Bill Clinton was running, and you pointed to him being a good president and balancing the books, this was all before social media. And anybody in politics now will tell you it's so much harder in social media, and certainly much harder with something like X running against you. How do you counteract that?
Well, we've got TikTok, Instagram, playing the social media. Look, there's an advantage of doing reality TV. Because it's real, it's candid, it's unscripted, which is who I am. I'm authentic, I am decisive, but I come with warmth and compassion. And, we're looking for the spark. And hopefully we do get that spark because I can actually drive the car without training wheels day one. And I don't believe the other candidates can. I come with very different attributes in addition to my business success. And I'm not afraid, and I've got brass balls.
Well, please say hi to Jeff Ross for me.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm grateful.
And we will be tracking you, and we hope that you'll come back on again.
I would love that. Thank you.
Good. We want a progress report. And good luck with your book.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Are you reassured for the future of California?
Reassured for the future of California. There is nothing that could reassure me about any one thing that is currently occurring.
I found him listen, he's super eccentric, right?
Yes, of course. And I think it's actually a valid point that he has nothing to hide. He's actually pretty out there. He's out there, but is very audacious about it in a way that, he's not trying to hide anything, which is refreshing. That alone is refreshing.
Yeah, that's true. And it was extraordinary hearing him read the apology letter.
Yeah. Just don't know, Joanna.
All right. Well, if you have been, thank you for listening. Much to be said about the future of California. If you have been, thank you for listening. If you haven't already subscribed to the Daily Beast, why on earth not? Just go to thedailybeast.com. And anything you would like to say, Sam?
Just, you know what? I just want a world that works. That's all I'm asking for. I just want a world that works.
It may be too late.
And I think it might be too late. And, in the meantime, if you're feeling you're feeling prolific, please continue sending your emails to beastpod@thedailybeast.com. Drop us a comment. I bet you have some comments. Why don't you share them with us on YouTube? Because Joanna's going to get back to you.
I might do.
Know.
I'm behind on my correspondence.
What the
I've been traveling, but I'm back
hell?
and I will be paying attention.
Okay. Well, prick your ears up because I feel like you're going to have an incoming messages incoming as we speak.
Oh, lordy, lordy. Okay.
Be a subscriber. Come on. What the hell is wrong with you? You're not a subscriber to the Daily Beast. Why are you even here?
How much Coca-Cola have you had this morning?
I've had not enough. I'm going to go have so much more. It's so easy to sign up. Why am I saying the things that you usually say? Just do it. God damn it.
I have no idea, but
DailyBeast.com. Let's go, people.
all right, as our joint muse
Our joint muse.
might say,
Might say, even after a papal funeral.
I think we're going to do a reversal of roles. As your muse would say,
That's right.
be best.
Oh, Joanna! For God's sake, woman, it's be beast. And you know that. You know that!